What's up everybody, it's your boy Matt Turner back again. Thank you guys for watching my last video. I really appreciate all of you guys who are subscribing and watching my videos. It really means a lot to me. But today I thought I would share with you guys a little story about how I came out at work and how it's been for me so far. I think one thing that's important to note is that this isn't like a job that I was working at and then I came out later. This is I came out in the very beginning. So some background information on me that is kind of probably a little important to this story, not really, but I recently graduated this past fall. Yay, graduated. So I am obviously looking for work. I wish I was doing something a little bit more than what I'm doing right now, but I decided, hey, I want to do a job that I actually love, and I really love fitness. So at some point I was talking with my girlfriend, I was like, you know, I really want to be a PT, a personal trainer, not a physical therapist, a personal trainer. Though being a PT, a physical therapist, would also be really cool, but that's not something I can do right now because I don't have that kind of education. But so basically I was like, yeah, I want to be a PT, and then so I bought the ACE manual, study guide and everything like that, and so within the next few months I'm hoping to be able to be ACE certified to be a personal trainer. Anyways, so I was doing that and I was like, hey, you know what, let me try and get my foot in the door while I study. And so I was like, okay, let's apply to some gyms. It doesn't have to be as a fitness instructor, even though that's what I really want. It could just be as a front desk person. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna apply to all of these different gyms, you know, normal fucking oops, am I not supposed to say, anyways, normal shit. I got some replies, didn't get some replies, but eventually I did manage to land 2 different interviews. One of them, now mind you, I have on my resume very this is fine print type shit where all of my good personal work experience information is all in bolded letters, and then there's this one small line in my honors and accomplishments section that says oh, transmasculine. I started a transmasculine Reddit page and some other stuff. But anyways, so what happened is basically I went to the interview and there was a whole thing. I didn't have a suit or anything like that, so that was a whole thing. I had to run to Kohl's and buy suits and buy ties. And it was very interesting because my parents weren't used to seeing me in any of these things, not a full suit and tie. I always dress kind of masculine, you know, slacks and blouses and things like that, but for the most part I never wore a suit. But also I just hate having to dress formal, period. So if I didn't have to dress formal, I didn't dress formal. And so that led me to have very, very, very little amount of dress clothing. So I was running back and forth, getting a suit and tie. And then so there was an interview on Zoom that I was doing that required formal clothing, and then I was like, hey, I'm gonna get the bottoms and stuff because I have an actual interview in person with the gym. So for the gym I wore this basic sweater and button up that I bought for my suit and a tie, and then I think I wore jeans and my one one pair of monk straps that I really, really love. But I thought I was looking spiffy, but that's not the point. So basically, I arrived at the gym, and like immediately when I went in, like everybody was like looking at me. You could tell they were like, okay, who's this person? Because most people don't come into the gym wearing like formal wear. Over the phone, so I'm a year and like, at that point, I think I was a year, and actually I think I had just gotten to a year. Yeah, I had just gotten to a year of being on T. So by that point, my voice was already kind of to this level. So on phone, I sound super cis-passing and things like that. So they went into, even though on my application, I think actually on my application, for like the gender questions, I was like, prefer not to say. And that's for a few different reasons. One being that I'm like, I don't want to put that I'm male and then show up and then like, you know, they're like, oh, you're actually like female, and I'm like, you're stupid, shut up. And then I don't get a job. And B, I want to be judged based off of my actual resume criteria and what I've just done. I don't think really that question should be on applications, period, because it's just kind of like you should be picking who has the best anyways. Yeah, I get equal opportunity and whatever, but like, it's stupid. Just pick the person who has like the best criteria. Anyways, so I got to the interview and they were like, yeah, just I like was like, I'm here to see like the manager. I couldn't remember his name at the time. It was really hard for me, to be completely honest, to remember his name. If you're watching this, I know your name now. But they told me to sit down, so I like sat down and I was sitting and waiting. I sat there and maybe waited for like maybe 10 minutes before the manager came to like start the interview. The interview for the most part went really smooth sailing. I didn't really have like any issues, and then he was like, oh, I see on here that you like have that you started like this transmasculine Reddit thing, like what is that about? And I was like, I really wasn't expecting like anybody to really point it out, because usually most people don't. They're like, oh, yeah, I see you worked at Target and all these other things that like, of all the like this, he is the one person that I know that has probably actually read through my resume, because it's like the 7th thing on my honors and accomplishments like bullet point list. So like he literally read through it. So he read through it as I was sitting there, and I was like, oh shit, he's gonna see that. Because like, you know, I put it on there because I do see it as an accomplishment, and for some parts it's like I see a need, I feel a need, and I started something that I felt like the Reddit community needed. But then on another half, it was like, this is kind of like outing myself. But I was like, I'll cross that bridge when I get there, and I had to cross that bridge. I wasn't ready. We always say that, cross that bridge when you get there, but we never are actually ready when we actually have to cross that bridge. But basically, anyways, after that, like, I like explained it. I didn't really like tell him, and I could tell in his eyes that he was like, are you just like a man, like a cis man that's like allied and part of the community and like made this for the community, or are you actually trans? And I never like disclosed. But then there were a few little different moments where I could be like, oh, he's definitely trying to figure out whether I'm like actually trans or not. Which, I mean, I get, but also I'm actually pretty proud that like I make people stumble enough for that. It personally, for me, it makes me feel like I'm like doing really well in terms of going stealth. But anyways, so I explained it, and then he was like, okay, cool, here are these things, just like memorize them, and then we'll come back. And then I was like, cool. And then he was like, do you need to use the bathroom? And I was like, no, not really. And I've never like had somebody ask me if I've needed to use the bathroom at an interview. So my thought process with that was that he was trying to see which one I would go into to see kind of like whether I was male or female. And unfortunately for him, I was like, I don't need to use the bathroom. But I left, and then like over the weekend, I came back, I studied the things, and I came back, and he like sat me down, and he was like, after I signed everything and done all the paperwork and everything like that, he finally sat me down. He was just like, so, you know, that awkward like moment where you can tell people are gonna like ask you like really personal questions, and you're like, oh God, but also you're like, just get it over with, just ask me, just be blunt about it so we can move on. But I did like the fact that he was transparent, so props to you. I do appreciate that. I've always said that I've appreciated that you did that. I wish people would be more transparent about their questions when it comes to being trans with me, because I'd rather just get everything out of the way, make it all clear. No one has to be, you know, jumbled and stumbling. Just ask your question and I'll answer it. I'm really not that bad of a person. But he was like, hey, so like, I just wanted to know, what are your preferred pronouns and things like that. And I was like, I do go by he, him, yada, yada, yada. I am trans. I didn't really want to say I'm trans because I personally don't, like, it's hard because like, I use trans, and so many people are probably gonna be like, no, this isn't how this is, or like anything like that. But personally for me, being trans is kind of like a process. I am a man, and I say I'm trans so that people can understand that, hey, I was born female, and these are the steps that I'm going through to, you know, physically connect my mind and body. But I am a man. I wasn't born cis. So to me, that's kind of like how I don't actively explain to people that's what being trans is, because like, that's not what it is for everybody. But for me, if they come to me and ask me, that's what I will most likely end up telling them. But anyways, he was like, cool, I'll make sure that everybody knows. And he didn't like make sure everybody knows, but he was very adamant and purposeful in using he, him pronouns whenever he introduced me to everybody, which on some parts was awkward, because then it's like you're overemphasizing the fact that I'm a male, which can kind of lead people to thinking that maybe I'm not actually male. Whereas if you just were like, so yo guys, this is like Morgan, he's yada yada yada, and just kind of like said it like a normal sentence. So anyways, that was over and done with. As I like, so on to like how it's been now that that was like me. So that was me coming out basically at work. It doesn't help that I'm like large chested, so like obviously it's pretty obvious to some people that I'm not like cis. But for the most part, I get like 95% of the time I'm at work, I am gendered properly by both coworkers and like guests, so that's really cool. But after that, I like was slowly introduced into like male culture, and maybe I'll do a separate video on what that's like. I can guarantee you there are some things that I really fucking hate about kind of being part of the male culture now at the workplace. that I don't really particularly stand for, but also I'm like, yay, I'm like experiencing this because like people see me as a man, but also I'm like, you guys are stupid. Another thing, and to all the men that are watching this, the cis men, trans men, I don't give a fuck what kind of man you are, for all the men that are watching this, please answer this question for me down below in the comments. Why don't you wash your hands after you use the bathroom? Because it makes no sense to me. Like, are you crazy? Like, we are currently in like a pandemic and people are still not washing their hands. Also, having experienced both sides of the bathrooms, why do you like not shake your hands over the sink? And this is also coming from a worker's perspective. Like, what are you doing in the bathroom? Are you using super soakers on your, like, are your hands having a water fight? Why is there so much water on the counter? I do not understand. Please, somebody explain it to me, because it makes absolutely no fucking sense. But anyways, I will talk more about kind of like what it's like being indoctrinated and part of male work culture in another video. If you did like this video, please make sure to like it, leave a comment. The more likes I get and the more comments I get, the more engagement I have, which means that the more likely chance other people will see this video. If you do want to, you know, make sure that I am a growing channel and that people can see me and understand my perspective of what it's like to be trans, even though there are very, very many, I do believe mine is also a very unique one, such as everybody else's. Please remember to comment, like, also subscribe, hit the bell notification so that you can stay up to date on when I post a video. Leave some comments about also what kind of video that you guys want to see in the future. I do have another video planned up for after this one. Also, let me know how you guys like the King Butterlove video. I really like what he's doing. I meant to say this in the beginning, but I really love what he's doing. I really love the product. If you haven't seen that video, I'll bloop it up at the end so you can click it. Please go and watch it. He's doing something really, really great. But I think that's it. It is your boy, Matt Turner, out. I'll see you guys another day. I hope wherever you are that you are going to have a great morning, evening, or night. Peace out.